Hello there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Anthony Salas, and on behalf of the American Marketing Association, I'd like to welcome you to today's webcast sponsored by Limelight Networks and titled 7 Tips for Taming the Video Marketing Monster. We here at the AMA provide you with this webcast as one of the many special programs offered to the marketing community, and we invite you to participate in this ongoing series of free web seminars to help you drive the greatest return on your marketing investments. Whether it's in research, advertising, promotions, social media, and beyond, our webcasts offer education in all key areas of marketing, so make sure to join us every week for these informative thought leader webcasts that feature some of the most expert minds in marketing. You can see a full list of upcoming webcasts by going to marketingpower.com/webcast. And before starting today's presentation, I want to go over just a few housekeeping items. We are recording the webcast, and it will be made available to you soon after the live presentation, so look for that coming your way. If you have any questions as the presentation goes on, please use the chat feature that you see to the left of your screen. Any technical questions you might have, you can enter there as well, and those will be responded to immediately upon receipt. And content-related questions, please enter those any time as the presentation does go on there. We'll address those at the end of the formal presentation. And if you're able to join us today on Twitter, we are engaging in the conversation at #VideoMonster. So definitely please engage there with the other participants of today's webcast. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. We're being joined by Jason Thibault, who is the Senior Director of Marketing Strategy with Limelight Networks. And Jason is a digital superhero. He brings dreams to life with video, pictures, and words. He helps some of the world's biggest companies deliver movies, live TV, and their digital presence anywhere in the world. He's going to have a lot of great stuff to share with you on the topic today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jason to get started.
Great. Thank you, Anthony, and thanks everybody for taking time out of your day to join us. Now we're going to have a little fun with this. We're actually not going to be really serious and have lots of bullet points. We're going to enjoy this topic a bit because it's it can be a little scary, right? Video can really frighten a lot of marketers, not because it's ultimately difficult, which I'm going to show, but just because it's so unknown to many of us. So what I've come up with is sort of these 7 tips about how to tame the video monster. And I didn't intentionally put monster in here because it was Halloween. It just happened to work out that way, so I'm going to run with it. All right, so let's get started. So what we've got, of course, is our little scary monster. Now you're going to see our monster throughout the presentation, so I invite you to look for him. He's a little bit of an Easter egg in some places, but just keep on him. Okay, so why don't we start off though with a bit of a poll. Let's get a sense from you out in the audience about how much are you using video to engage with your audience. Go ahead and take a few seconds to just click one of the radio buttons and the submit. Okay, looks like we've pretty much got everyone who's voted in there, so give it a couple more clicks. All right, let's go ahead and close the poll. And now we're going to see some results. So pretty awesomely, we've got kind of a mix here, right? We've got people who are using it all the time and people who are using it not at all. And then, of course, there's some in there that video's too expensive, people don't really watch it. So great idea, great concept. People like video. I think what I'm going to show you first is I'm going to kind of put something to bed, right? I'm going to put this idea to bed that video is not important, that video really doesn't have a place in our marketing strategy. So let's take a look at some stats, right? And first is that consumers are motivated by video, right? When they watch a video, they tend to buy stuff more often. When they watch a video, they tend to be more confident in their decisions about product. And now there's lots of these stats all around the web. And as a matter of fact, if you Google, impact of online video stats, you'll get a ton of websites. The thing too is that video is not just for consumers, right? It's not just for B2C, it's actually for B2B. So there's a lot of stats now that are showing us that senior executives are looking and would rather watch video than reading bullet points, for example, or getting a white paper. And so you're going to find these stats that basically say how much a video can help really sort of change behavior. Now, I'm going to give you a little case study here, and this is a pretty awesome case study. So this really applies both to B2B and B2C. But when Dropbox, right, we all know Dropbox is that cool cloud-based software that lets you store files up there so that you can, share them and back them up. Well, they decided to put a video on their homepage. And when they did that, they saw an increase in conversion of 10%. Now, 10% is pretty good conversion. But when you actually calculated that against revenue, it was $48 million just by adding a video on their web page. So you can see that there is measurable impact to video. Now, the next thing we kind of have to figure out is, why has video become so popular, right? Why are we watching video at all anyway? And I think that was some of the poll question, was people felt, is anybody really watching video? So out there in we'll call it the great interweb, right, I came across this person called the Brain Lady. And it's Susan Weichencheck. She's a doctor. She's a neuroscientist. And she came up through her research and analysis of 4 reasons why we really are drawn to video. I mean, this is our brain is wired to watch video. So let's go through these 4 reasons, right? And this is really the why. First thing is we focus on the face. So there's this part of our brain called the fusiform facial area. It's an actual physical part of our brain, that little spongy thing inside our head that actually focuses on human faces. It's a reason why babies recognize their mothers and fathers, right? It's a reason why we focus on the face when we talk to each other. So just thinking about that, right? When you think about a video, most videos feature people, right? Movies, TV, advertising. They're people, actors in those videos, and we focus on them. So we really like it. So when comparing it to just the written word, obviously we're going to be drawn to the medium that has that face. The second reason is that voice makes more meaning. So of course, as marketers, we publish a lot of content, right? And that content, can be in all sorts of different formats. It can be in bullet points, it can be in white papers, it can be in narratives and stories, it can be in all sorts of things. But really, when we do that, right, we're just reading it ourselves. It's our own voice. Only when we hear other people saying it, it actually derives more meaning for us. So this is something that the Brain Lady actually discovered in her research, is when we hear it said and we hear it spoken, bingo, our brain sort of grabs onto it a lot more, right? The third thing is seeing is believing. So when we tend to watch things, they actually have more impact for us to believe that they're true. So I'll give you an example of this. Let's say I come to a website and I'm looking for a product. And here are 2 things. There's a description of the product and an explanation of how it works. And then there's a video, and it's really kind of lowbrow. It's just, Google Hangout. Somebody recorded something on their smartphone of somebody using the video and showing me how it works. You can obviously see the big difference there is that people are going to be drawn to the video because in their brain, seeing it is deriving more meaning from it, again, along with that voice and along with those faces. So you can see how these reasons kind of add up. Now the last reason is kind of a funny reason. It's really all about the motion. So back in the day, I mean the day like 50,000 years ago the day, when we're out on the savannah hunting for food, if we weren't paying attention to the things in our peripheral vision, the things that were moving, well, sometimes those moving things would eat us. And that was an evolutionary trait, this concept of developing vision and peripheral vision and an acuity for motion. So ask yourself this, how many of you have been to a restaurant or a bar and you're kind of just hanging out, and they've got TVs playing, and you're drawn to the TV, and you keep glancing at it, even though you don't care what's on it, and you're engaged in a conversation, you really can't help yourself. Now you can fight it, obviously, but deep down inside, your brain wants to constantly look at it because it's new. It's some bit of new motion. And so your brain is thinking, oh, did the bushes just rustle? Is that a lion in the bushes? So again, these 4 things together, right? It's all about faces, voice and meaning, seeing is believing, and it's all about the motion, really describe the fundamental reasons why we like video. Now, as we showed, as some of the poll questions came back, video can be intimidating. Well, what I want to do, though, is I kind of want to dispel that myth a little bit, right? Because that's really what it's about. Is a lot of people feel like this, is that it can be intimidating, but it has to be a big production or it's too difficult to execute. Well, I have found some myths regarding that, 3 to be specific, and I'm going to dispel them right now because video doesn't have to be intimidating. So the first myth, video is really expensive. Now, I'm going to show you an example video here, but I'm not going to tell you anything about it. Some of you may have seen it. It's wildly popular. It's been around for a couple years, and it is unquestionably hilarious. But I'm not going to give you any details about it until after we watch it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the next slide, and this is going to be a video, and we're going to actually play this back.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
Okay, so that video is a riot. It's hilarious. You might be thinking to yourself, holy smokes, it looks fantastic. Guy's like a professional comedian. That must have cost, like hundreds of thousands of dollars to get done. So what if I were to totally shock you that it cost $4,000 to make? That's right, because that guy in the video, that's Mike Dubin. He's the founder of Dollar Shave Club. He didn't have a whole lot of money when he started, so he thought, you know what, I'm going to write a script, and I'm going to get my buddy with his HD camera to film this, and we're going to get a couple of the people who work for us, and we're going to dress up one in a bear costume, and I think somebody's got a kid we can give a razor. But the point is that he didn't have to go and hire actors and all that stuff. All he had to do was do something really authentic. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so myth number 2, right? You need actors, wardrobe, and makeup. So I'm going to show you another video example. In this video, I just came across this, and I'm going to thank Ann Handley at the Marketing Profs for pointing this out to me. This video is absolutely phenomenal in lots of different ways. But the real reason you're going to find out is because of that A word, authenticity. So why don't we jump into that right now?
I'm Carl Shortino, and I'll never forget that conversation with my dad,
That's me.
where I had to come out and tell him
Wait for this.
that I was a Massachusetts liberal.
And he's proud of it.
Dad's in the Tea Party.
Damn right. It was bad enough in picking on the big banks and corporations in the legislature.
They weren't paying their fair share in taxes
And he wrote the buffer zone law.
to protect women entering abortion clinics from harassment.
It's gone all the way to Supreme Court. I was kind of proud of that.
But here's the one that drives him crazy.
He wants to go to Congress to take on the NRA and the Tea Party,
I won't give up on an assault weapons ban.
or universal background checks, or banning high-capacity magazines.
There are some things you don't stop fighting for. Also the right to choose, equal pay for women, and equal rights for, well, everybody.
He's been like this for 35 years.
It's why I approve this message. And I still love you, Dad.
Me too, son.
Okay, so I'm going to end it right there because we don't need to see his little pitch for help us keep this ad on the air. But the really cool thing about this video, and yeah, I'm probably showing a political video too close to a recent political event that people are still really kind of about. But still, this video is amazing. Why? Because first of all, it violates every expectation we have of a campaign video. But second, because it's so authentic and honest, right? Again, there's no real big production here. There's a tripod and there's a video camera, and it's set up in front of this guy, Carl's dad, and it's set up in front of Carl himself. And they're really just going back and forth. So somebody spliced in a little bit of video, they edited it together, and then boom, they've got an advertisement. And now this is an ad that when it went out actually got national media attention. Everybody was like, wow, that is the best political ad I've ever seen in my life. Why? Because it was so honest and authentic. So again, you don't need all of this makeup and high-price actors and costumes and sets. You really just need people, and you really just need people giving great information. So let's go on to the next myth, right? Okay, this is kind of a funny one, right? Stop filming, we forgot the kitchen sink. A lot of people believe that you've got to put in everything you can possibly think of. Everything has to go in the video. Wait, we have to have that bit of a product. Wait, we have to have something in there about how great we are. Wait, somebody has an apple tree. We need that in there too. Of course, everybody's shrugging their shoulders. Why the apple tree? But that's the problem, is everybody has an opinion about what needs to be put in. Now, I'm going to show you another example video, and it's really short, super short, as a matter of fact, and it exemplifies the fact that videos can really be simple. And in fact, the simpler the better. Look at those two videos that I just showed you, right? The Dollar Shave Club was about 1 minute and 30-something seconds. The Carl Sciortino video was about 1 minute and 11 seconds, so actually minus that 10 seconds of campaigning at the end. So you're talking about not very long videos. Well, watch how short this video is from Lowe's. And this is fantastic, and I'll explain where this comes from in just a second. That's it, all done. 4 seconds of video. And what did Lowe's just show us? They showed us that in order to keep your drill bit from slipping on tile, you should put a couple pieces of masking tape there. So your drill bit won't slip and you'll be able to drill the hole in the tile that you want to drill. So that's really amazing, because what Lowe's has recognized, and this comes from their Fix and Six series, which they publish on Tumblr and on Vine, is that video is all about imparting useful information. When you think about it, it's about telling a story, right, and creating some semblance of connection. All right, so now we're going to get to the meat of it, right? How in the world does that, all of that, the thinking behind all those 3 examples, how does it make video scary? Well, there's 4 real reasons, right? First is kind of a lack of knowledge and process. And that's where we just don't know how to get started. We don't know what to do. And that's where the idea of adding video to your marketing all begins. You start to think, I want to add video, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I don't know how, and I don't know how to get video done. So the next one is really sort of, we don't have the right technologies, right? And now you have to go find them. So not only do you not know what they are, you don't know where to get them. Well, the third way, and you can see it's starting to build, right? The monster's getting uglier, he's getting scarier, is now you have to report on video. Because if you go to your boss, or if you go to your CEO and you say, we need to have video for these reasons, and the CEO says, great, I agree, now go do it, and I want to see a report on my desk, the day you launch it. Uh-oh, I don't know how to report on video. And the last one, right, and this is the really scary one, is that you got to monetize video, right? And so you have to produce the video that your audience wants in order for it to be monetized. Now, there's a lot of B2B video that won't ever get monetized, but for those people out there, right, this is perhaps the scariest problem. So the reality is that video has to be neither complicated nor expensive. Okay, now we're going to get to the meat of the presentation, right? Giving you a bunch of background information. I hope you now have a sense of, hey, maybe this isn't too hard for me to do. I'm now going to show you the 7 things about how to tame that video monster, right? Just like this guy, tame him so that you can add video into your marketing. So there's 7 basic challenges. And I'm just going to kind of run through these because you can obviously read them, right? So you got no process, which means that you really don't understand how to create video and get it to the end user. You got lots of disconnected systems, so you got different things doing different things for video. It's unmanaged, right? It's tough when you've got video and it's all over the place, right? It's in somebody's hard drive and it's in the cloud and it's somewhere else. You're challenged by what's called syndicating your video. So you've only got video in one place. For most companies, that's YouTube, and I'm going to explain why that's not the best thing to do. Number 5 is you really got no idea about engagement. You can't really make money from it. And the last thing is that you've got content that really sort of talks all about you. So let's go through these challenges. And these are the 7 core challenges that if you tackle are video then becomes a no-brainer. It's easy to get into your marketing. So the first one is that there's no process or workflow. So what is a process, and what's a workflow for video? Well, the illustration that we've got on the screen kind of depicts the basic workflow for any video. You start off with creating it, and then you have to figure out how to manage it, and then you've got to deliver it, so you've got to get the video somewhere, and then you want to engage through it. Sure, you want to have conversations, and maybe you want people to tweet it and share it. You know, there's monetization. Some people can skip that part of the workflow, but if not, it's really about how do I put ads on this, or how do I charge for it. And then the last bit is optimizing. So everything you've learned along those workflow process, you apply back to your creation when you start over again so that you get more targeted and you get better at delivering and producing video. So it's critical to have a process and a workflow like this, because otherwise video gets really scary, right? The monster grows really fast when all of a sudden there's really no way to manage that video. All right, the second challenge, disconnected systems. This is a bad one, right? It's not something that people consider a lot, and it's not necessarily something that people do deliberately. It just sort of happens over time. But the way that a lot of organizations handle video today is kind of like this. Nothing fits together. And they didn't do it on purpose, right? They simply started out one day and said, wow, you know, we'd really like to get video to the desktop. So maybe they bought a piece of software they installed on somebody's computer, and they're taking video from somebody's camcorder or maybe even from the webcam, and they're packaging it up and they're producing it. And then all of a sudden somebody said, you know, wow, we should get those videos onto mobile devices. And all of a sudden it's, well, how do we do that? So now they've got another piece of software to help them get to mobile devices. So you can see that this just adds on top of each other. As video has become more complicated, right, as there's more pieces to it, companies have simply layered on software after software after software. And that creates this. But what they want is something like this. What you want is a platform, right? An ability to bundle all of those features up together so that getting video from the creation part of the workflow all the way to the optimized part of the workflow is connected, right? They're all in one interface, for example. So you've got analytics and ad insertion and multi-site publishing, so you're putting it to your website and you're sending it to YouTube at the same time. You might have mobile delivery. Now, there's lots of platforms out in the market today, and these logos represent just the examples of them, right? There's obviously Limelight has one, Bright Cove has one, YouTube is a platform, there's Kaltura and Twistage and Uyala and Sorensen Media, and there's even more. There's a laundry list of these platforms out there. But ultimately what they do is they enable you to get a workflow, right, to get a process all in one place. You don't have to have multiple pieces of software anymore. All right, so let's take a little bit of a breather there. Woo, getting a lot of information. And let's take another poll question. So this time, the question is, do you have a video platform now? I'm seeing lots of yeses, which is making me very excited. All right, we've got a lot of great participation there. I really appreciate it, guys. Okay, so why don't we close the poll out? Let's look at the results. So actually, bing, 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 more people have a platform than don't. That's fantastic. Some people are considering, which is great. And then, of course, there's some people there that never will have a platform. But the key here is that there's a lot of people on the call who are understanding that it's far easier not to do it themselves. I don't want lots of different pieces of software. I want one piece of software, one solution to help me get my video to the end user. That's fantastic. All right, so let's look at the third challenge. The third challenge is all about management. So unmanaged video, and I've seen this before. This is just file folders of video on somebody's computer. No one really knows what they are. No one really knows, you know, when they were done and what they, you know, the management system is an Excel spreadsheet. What they really want, though, is something that's very, very organized. So you have to think about your video library as more than just a bunch of files, right? It's really a collection. And as a collection, you can organize it so that people can search for it by subject, by name, and even more. Now, a part of that is all about the metadata. So metadata is a way for you to describe your video based on tags and keywords and subjects and titles and all sorts of descriptors that will help not only you manage it, but will also help your users find your video more easily. So thinking about that platform again, most platforms enable you to add metadata to your videos when you put them into the platform. So I've got a video, I upload it into whatever platform I'm using, I specify lots of descriptors about it, and then boom, I publish it. All right, the fourth challenge. Video is only in one place. So this is kind of like my big pet peeve, right? This is the one thing that I think businesses really do poorly, is that they focus on one place. And I call out YouTube, and I don't call out YouTube because it's bad. I call out YouTube because it's simply the place that everybody puts their video when they don't know where to put their video. Now, the real thing, though, is that what you want to do is syndicate your video, right? You want to make sure that your video is in as many places as possible. There's no reason not to have it on your website and have it on YouTube and Vimeo, and now you've got Pinterest and Instagram have video as well. So the idea is you want to put this video in as many places as possible. I mean, that's the real key, right? That's what you want to do, because in doing so, you get the most discovery. So you're appealing to all of those users who are on YouTube, and I think YouTube, they get something like 1 billion video minutes viewed every hour or something like that. There's some crazy stat. But the point is that you get to take advantage of their traffic, and you get to control who gets to watch it and where it goes. So the key thing is, if you're just using YouTube as your platform, well, you're not driving any traffic back to your website. But if you have your video everywhere, at some point, traffic is going to move back to that website. And of course, you're going to be driving people to your video in the first place. And hopefully over time, you're training your audience that that's where you want them to watch the video. All right, the next challenge. No idea how the audience is engaging. So this is kind of how we used to do it, right? A little crystal ball, a little pixie dust, a little magic, and we would figure out the behavior of our users. Were they engaged? Did they drop off? When did they stop watching? But the problem was, oh my gosh, it was hard. It was really hard. Well, thankfully, today, it's not as hard. There's a whole lot of data being produced by all sorts of different parts of the video workflow. So there might be data being produced by a media server, so something that's delivering the video. There might be data that's being produced by a player, so something on a mobile device or a desktop that's actually giving data back about what the user is doing, with the video. So the thing is that there's no reason not to be able to provide very detailed reports. And thankfully, most of those platforms, right? So again, I'm gonna kind of say the platform word a lot, simply because I think do-it-yourself is really hard to accomplish when you want to do things like reporting. So a lot of those platforms have analytics built in. So you simply publish a video, and then you get all sorts of cool analytics. Now, I'm also going to make a caveat here about YouTube. So if you're just publishing your video in YouTube, and again, you should be publishing it in YouTube, but if it's only in YouTube, you've got really no sense of anything, because YouTube is a very black box. They're not providing very detailed analytics about your video. So you want to make sure that as you syndicate it everywhere, right, you can start to watch who's viewing it where and build behavioral analysis on the parts that you can, like if the video is on your website. Okay, number 6. This is often the elephant in the room, right? Which is, hey, can we make any money on that video? Right, we're going to publish a video. Can we put some ads around it? Will that anger people? Most of the time not, right? Most of the time it's okay to put ads around the video. I think users are accepting of that now, especially given when the video is very helpful. Here, I'm giving you helpful information. Well, how about I just put an ad on the side of it? Do you care? And the user generally don't. The problem, of course, with a place like YouTube again, and I don't mean to harp on YouTube, but I do, is that you don't get to control the ads. So when the video is on your website, right, you can start to make a lot of European money. Sorry, I couldn't find an American one there. Now, opportunities for monetization. What can you do? How can you generate money? Well, there's advertising, and so I've listed out a few of the different ways you can advertise. There's also things like paywalls. So a paywall is, putting your content on one page and people clicking on it and paying it as they watch it, similar to pay-per-view. And then there's a subscription model too. You might actually develop some really, really awesome, helpful content that you want people to pay for to see on a monthly basis. And again, it's all around your audience, right? It's what are they willing to do? What are they willing to pay for? And again, this is not a B2B or a B2C question. This is a people question. If your audience as people aren't accepting of paying for a video or seeing advertisements, then this is the elephant that you want to kick out of the room. Okay, the last challenge. This is my favorite challenge. So the key thing is that you aren't being very helpful, right? So, little Beatles reference there in case you didn't get it. But the idea is that so I love this quote. This is a famous quote. It's been around a long time. It's out there in the interwebs. But if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. We've all heard it. We've all seen it. I can't remember the actual source of it. But anyway, there's a really great author, Jay Baer, who wrote a book called Utility, in which he turned that on its head a little bit. So he said, if you sell something, you make a customer today. Great job. But if you help someone, you make a customer for life. And that's a really fundamental different way of looking at things. So if we build up this whole webinar to this point, right, I've talked to you about how important video is, why we like it, what are the challenges of adding it into your, into your repertoire of marketing activities, and you get to this point about being helpful, right? My video has to be helpful. I'm going to show you an example of a really helpful video, and then I'm going to give you a story behind this video that might get you thinking about how you too can give content away as part of your video strategy. Okay, so let's watch this video.
Hello, I'm Ron, an agent with the Geek Squad. Many people have old computers they want to get rid of, but want to make sure their personal information is removed before they discard the computer. Today, we'll show you how to wipe the data on the hard drive of your computer. Simply erasing the hard drive isn't enough, as data recovery software may make it possible to recover the data later. The first step in wiping the data on your hard drive is to get the proper software to do so. In this case, Derek's Boot Anew. Download a copy from dban.org and burn it to a CD. Place the CD in the old computer and reboot the machine. You may need to enter into the BIOS to set it to boot from CD or DVD, or use a temporary boot option to select boot from CD or DVD. When the boot screen loads up, press Enter and choose M to get to the method screen. From here, you can choose the type of wipe to perform.
I'm actually going to end the video there because I'm not sure how many of you wanted to get on a webinar to find out how to delete all the data from your hard disk. But the key thing about this video is that it was produced by a company called the Geek Squad. Now, the Geek Squad, you probably know them as part of Best Buy now, but they weren't always part of Best Buy. They were an independent company who, with the mission of helping people fix these common computer problems. Now, they did something very, very interesting. Prior to the acquisition, they gave away most of their content. Actually, they still do give away all their content. And they were questioned about that. They said, why in the world do you give away these videos that show exactly what to do for the service that you provide? So Geek Squad, you pay them some money and they'll wipe your hard drive for you. Well, their opinion was, okay, there's a whole lot of do-it-yourselfers out there, but really, of about 1 in 10 will actually watch the video and do it themselves. The other 9 out of 10 will start watching the video and go, oh my gosh, this is way too hard. I'm just going to have the Geek Squad do it. So they understood, though, that one person became an evangelist, right? He did it himself. So maybe his buddy comes along and goes, oh man, I got to wipe my hard drive. Can you help me? He's like, yeah, that's pretty technical. Like, you should check out this video if you want to try and do it yourself. But you know what? I recommend you go to the Geek Squad. So they did sort of it was a two-run thing. They built not only really great rapport with their customers through these helpful videos by giving away the very thing that they were charging for, but they also created evangelists from the very people that were taking the stuff to do it themselves. So where does that get you to, right? It gets you to this. It gets you to a tame video monster. You've tackled 7 critical challenges, and I'm going to show now, I'm going to walk you through how each of these challenges were tackled. Okay, so how did he tame the video monster? Let's start with the workflow, right? Number 1, he developed a process. He made sure that he knew exactly what happened when the video was created, how it was getting managed, so all that metadata stuff, where it was going to get delivered, how it was getting delivered. He may have wrote this on a whiteboard, he may have put it down on paper, but he got buy-in. He got everybody to agree, okay, that's the way we do it. The next thing is, he did go out and get a platform. Now, when I say go out and get a platform, I'm going to be a little coy here. You don't have to go out and buy a platform. You can build a platform. There's lots of organizations who create a platform by integrating software together. So not just buying pieces of software and using them separately, but actually combining them together through things like APIs and other ways to connect software together. The key thing is that you need a central thing, something upon which to build all of your video. And if you have to go through multiple different pieces of software that are all on different systems and controlled by different people, that's when your process is going to break down. So how else did he do this? He managed his video, right? He used that platform to specify metadata, to create descriptors. He wanted a library that people could search. I mean, this is the computer age. I mean, we've got awesome search capabilities. Why should we make it difficult for not only ourselves to find things, but for our users to find things? And so now he's able to create channels and publish a player and do all the things from a management perspective that would have taken a lot longer before. Syndication. This is about getting that video to more than one place. So now all he has to do is check a couple boxes. He has to make sure that his accounts are connected. And now the platform knows exactly what to do. He says, I got a video to publish. I want it to go to YouTube and to the website and to Pinterest, and go. And he clicks a button and off the video goes. And so now that video is going to appear in the player he's already got on his website. It's going to appear in YouTube, and it's going to appear in Pinterest. And that's really powerful. Think how easy that is to be able to do that. Last bit is analysis, right? Of course, he needs to make sure that he knows what his video, his users are doing with his video. Where are they falling off? What are they watching? What is the most exciting part? Where are people really peaking in terms of Twitter feeds and Facebook posts? And so thankfully, the platform that he has provides that kind of data. And it's not just numbers, it's a report. There's graphs and bar charts and pie charts, and he can PDF it and send it off to a CEO who said, the day you launched that first video, I want to see a report. Monetization. The really cool thing about the platform is that he has full control of monetization. He can integrate with ad networks like Google and like DoubleClick, or he can choose to add different videos that he calls advertisements. He can add images and pictures on the side of his player. He has complete and full control over generating revenue from his video or not generating revenue from his video. And finally, this really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the platform, but he tamed the video monster by realizing, I just have to be helpful. I have to take maybe really cool shots of my product. I'm going to do a video of my product, of somebody using my product, but I'm not going to sell my product. I'm going to let my product sell itself because I don't need to tell people about it when they're watching somebody use it. And so he completely changed his attitude about how he was approaching video marketing. Not as I'm going to tell you what it is, Mr. Viewer. I'm going to give you something helpful and let you infer and draw your own conclusions out of that. And I know that if I'm good enough at it, the conclusion they're going to draw is, I need that product to solve my problems. Okay, last poll here before we wrap up the webinar, right? This one is really about those 7 characteristics, right? So I only put the 5 in here, and I apologize. I'm not sure why we did that. We should have put in all 7. But what one characteristic do you need to tame the most to start using video? Okay, great participation there. Let's close the poll. Fantastic. So if I tell you this, you can't say, oh yeah, whatever, but I figured it would be workflow. So that's where a lot of businesses really struggle to begin with, is just getting a process in place. Why? Because most businesses don't have dedicated video people. Everybody's got another job. And so now when you introduce this new format, it's like a big, uh-oh, who's going to be responsible for this? And then how are we going to do it? And who's going to get buy-in for it? So it doesn't necessarily surprise me, but it's the first thing I think that is most, here's a bad word, tackleable for everybody, is that because they can sit down in a room with people at the organization, use pieces of paper or a whiteboard and just hammer out, this is the way we're going to produce video. And it's going to follow from here to here to here to here to here, and then we're going to publish it to the user, and we're going to do everything else with it. So what it all comes down to, it comes down to this platform, right? You got to get help. I really advise all the customers and prospects and people and businesses and organizations that I talk to throughout the year at various conferences. about video is don't tackle it yourself. Yeah, YouTube is great. If you want to get started today, I highly recommend you just throw some videos on YouTube just so you can start to see a reaction from people. But long-term strategically, YouTube is only one place that you want to publish. And of course, you've got to change your mentality about the kind of video that you produce. It can't just be about yourself. It can't be about how great your product is or about how awesome your company is. It's got to be about your customer, right? Show your customers using the product, right? Show your customers talking about the product. You don't need to be involved in the videos anymore. Think about Mike Dubin. Think about Dollar Shave Club, right? I mean, that's just funny, right? He took a funny approach instead of a serious approach, but his products were all in there, and it got you laughing at the end of it, and you're like, hey, I wonder if that's real. I should check that out. Now, what happens when you do all this? What happens when you get a platform and you're really helpful and everything falls into place? Right, you get this. Your whole team is cheering. Everybody's like, yeah, you get fist bumps in the hallway. Woohoo, you get fireworks. Nice. And then, of course, the world is a better place because you get rainbows and unicorns. Well, at least it's a better place for 6-year-old girls. Now, we want to help. This is helpful content. We have a book called Online Video for Dummies. It's free. There's nothing in here about our platform versus anybody else's platform. This is a book that's going to help you understand those challenges I just went over. How do I tackle them? How do I solve them? What are the techniques? What are the tricks? What are the tips? This is a great book if you're struggling with video right now. This is sort of the manual for how you get into online video, and you just take the bull by the horns and get going. So there's a URL at the bottom. You can go there. You can download an electronic copy. You can request a print copy. We'll send one to you as well, or you can request 10. Doesn't matter. Whatever's good for you. This is me. That's right. So this is my Twitter feed and my phone number and my email. I'm going to post it up here just a second again. But you're more than welcome to contact me about any question you have about video. I love to chat and talk and discuss video. So if you've got questions, I've got your answers, usually. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to end the presentation. I'm going to turn it back over to Anthony. And here again is my contact information if you've got any questions. And then there's that URL again for that book. I highly advise, go get it. It's free. There's no strings attached whatsoever. This is us being helpful. This is us being Geek Squad. All right. Again, thank you for attending. Let's address some questions, and I'm going to hand it back over to Anthony.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Jason. And great stuff. A lot of good sharing going on Twitter. I think you're hitting the nail on the head for a lot of people, so we definitely have some good questions lined up for you. As we move into those, we got about 15 minutes left here. We're going to get to as many as we can. Just a reminder, if you still have a question, use that chat area to the left of your screen. Get the question in. We're going to, as I said, get to as many as we have time for. So with that, let's move into our first question here for you. Good question to kind of, I think, kick things off here with from Maureen. And she's talking about the monster that she is trying to tame, which is the fact that everyone right now is wanting video. So, she's saying that it's almost to the point where they're not really thinking about the text content. So her question to you is, how do you balance text and video on a website?
So that's a fantastic question, Maureen. Yay to you. The funny thing is I've actually got a book coming out that I've co-authored with Kirby Wadsworth, who's the CMO here at Limelight, and it's coming out next February, and it talks about just that. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. So we've identified that there are different relationship types that people want from organizations, and we develop a relationship. Whenever we touch somebody with a marketing message, whether it's video or bullet points or text or images, doesn't matter, we create an opportunity to establish a relationship. Now, people coming to our website all have different relationship needs. So one of those relationship needs that we call it is sort of the just get it and get out. That's the guy, that's the person, the website visitor that wants nothing to do with Twitter or Facebook or being engaged or watching a video. They just want bullet points. There's another relationship need for people who want to engage. They want stories. They want to engage. They want to listen, dig into your content. They want to find out, wow, what do you have to say about all this stuff? And oh my gosh, I feel fantastic and I really love this company. The key thing is you have to appeal to all those relationship types. So if you don't have a combination of content on your website, if you don't have the bullet point stuff along with the story stuff, along with the video stuff, what you're going to do is you're going to alienate all of those relationship types that don't want that one aspect. So if your video, if your website is just all video, then those other relationship types, they're going to be unhappy. And when they're unhappy, they tell people that. I went to the website and I couldn't find the information. So all of a sudden, your digital presence is dinged, not for being bad, but because it didn't provide something to the person that they wanted. So if you want to find out how you figure out what kind of relationship types are coming to your website, the best thing to do is some behavioral analysis. Do clickstream analysis. Where are people clicking on your website? What are they looking at? And then using that data, you can go back to the people in your organization who are saying, we have to, it just all has to be video, and say, no. I have a page on here specifically that I built, and I put a call to action on the front page about just get this, just the facts, ma'am. And I had 89% of our website visitors click on it. So they all wanted to look at that information. And then 47% of those clicked on the video. So you can see that, hey, we have to have a balance. But that's an excellent question and a very, very hard problem to solve, but it's becoming very solvable. I realize that was a very long answer.
But detailed, so I think that was great. No, thanks, appreciate that. Another great question here. This is not me, but our participant's name is actually Anthony, so good name there.
Yeah, whatever.
His question is, how do you estimate the amount of time that it's going to take to create a video? So he was wondering too, like the Dollar Shave Club video, from concept to final video, any thoughts on how long that may have taken, or again, just how long it takes to do something like that?
Yeah, I don't have any idea how long they took. I do know that the best way to get estimations is to just practice it. So even if you're going to do some videos and not publish them, just get a sense of, like, if I pull up my smartphone and I get a tripod and we've got our script written, or even better, I just pull up a Google Hangout and we start talking about the product, or we start talking about how to drill a hole in a ceramic tile wall. Whatever I do, I just time how long that takes me. And so you can build your own internal estimations of how long it's going to take you to get your videos done. You could probably go and Google search it as well, and there's probably some industry best practices around how long it should take. But my experience and my opinion is just create some videos, even if they're just scratch videos you're never going to use, because that will help you not only practice your workflow, but you'll get a sense of timing as well.
All right, great. Thanks for that. Liz is asking if you can talk a little bit more about, or maybe provide some specifics about recommendations on acquiring metrics based on the video.
Right. So there's a couple of places to do that. There's actually software companies who have built tools that integrate into players. So one, for example, is this company called Conviva. And Conviva provides very, very detailed analytics on what's happening at the player level. And I mean detailed as in, like, how much memory does the user's computer have, how many bit rates did it go up and down if you're using multi-bit rate, when did they stop watching, when did they click off. There's lots of detailed analytics that software like Conviva can provide organizations who want to understand what's happening to their video. The best thing to do is simply go on a Google search and Google video analytics, and you're going to find a bunch of these companies that pop up, and most of them have plugins for players. So if you've got like a JW player or a Flash player, it's an easy thing to just go plug it in, and then you pay for the service. Now, one of the really cool services out there that's not necessarily related to video, but if you have video embedded in your website, is really cool. It's called Crazy Egg, and Crazy Egg actually tracks where people's mouse movements go on a website and where they click on, and where they scroll. So imagine if somebody's watching a video that's embedded into your web page. They've clicked play, so now you know the video's playing, and at some point they navigate off somewhere else. Now you've got this, it's almost like a heat map. I mean, it is really cool to watch. But you've got this sort of map of, okay, they went from this navigational element, they scrolled down the page, they clicked on the play button, and then 37 seconds later they left. Okay, I'm going to go map that 37 seconds. Where in the video was that? Where did I lose them? So there's lots of software out there that you can integrate both in your website and in your player in order to get detailed analytics back on user behavior.
All right, sounds great. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Question here from Krista, who is asking if you can talk a little bit about the creation of an inexpensive inexpensive video that yet is still professional in appearance. So, she said the inexpensive video samples that you showed were humorous, but it's a lot easier to be cheap when you're being funny. So again, her question being, can you create an inexpensive video and appear professional?
I believe you can. That's a great point. You're right. It is far easier to be cheap when you're being funny and cheeky and irreverent, without a doubt. But with that said, I think that take for example that part of the Geek Squad video that we showed. It's a very professional video. What did it take really? Again, a video camera and one of the Geek Squad guys and him doing what he does on the computer. So probably the most difficult part of producing that video was the editing, right? Getting all the pieces together. But if you've ever used something even like iMovie on the Mac, editing software today is fantastic. So with a lot of footage, again, really professional footage, you can actually make a fantastic video for a very inexpensive price. So I believe you can. I believe that you could make something for $4,000 or even less that is, professional and engaging. It's really just a matter of you writing the right script and producing the right content, and the technology out there to produce video today is just astounding. Think about what how many of you out there have iPhones or Androids? The quality, the HD quality video that comes out of those is amazing. And I will say that people appreciate authenticity, right? Think about that political campaign video. Think about Blair Witch Project, right? That old movie that came out where they filmed it themselves. People appreciate when it's not shaky and crazy, but when there's a sense of authenticity to it.
We're in such great mode with the holiday right now, aren't we? Blair Witch, the monster.
Oh, I didn't even think about
good
that.
Theme here. Another good one that just came in. We got these just great questions coming in here. Thanks to Warren for this one. So he's talking about, we're accustomed to videos that show individuals that enjoy the product. They've got a narration that's telling their story, and that's been kind of the modus operandi for about 25 years. So any thoughts on approaching using video for a destination promotion, and should it change from, what he just described there?
Yeah, why not? Why not be totally crazy? Why not? I'm going to go out on a limb. Why not show somebody hating the product, right? And then having, think about that. Think of that political campaign that I showed you. Think about instead of the father and son, think about if it was the father who hates the product and the son who likes it, or the father who hates it and somebody talking to them about, well, hey, did you try to use it this way? Or did you think about it like this? So I think you can be really creative in terms of just breaking the mold. I don't think a destination video has to be about how everyone is loving and enjoying it and being excited about it. I think you can take a twist on it, and that may actually get you some virality, right? If you take a twist and people are like, wow, that's not the destination video I expected, but oh my gosh, I want to go there. I'll give you an example. There was a hotel in some European country. I can't remember. But the point of their advertising campaign was that they were the worst hotel in Europe. And of course, everybody wanted to go because they wanted to experience the worst hotel in Europe. And no, it was not the worst hotel in Europe, but they did a great job getting people's attention. So I think really you just have to think about what will get my audience's attention in terms of this, destination video, and what can I do to break that expectation? Really sort of put it on its head. But I definitely think there's opportunities to do that.
Excellent. Worst hotel. Wow, interesting. So I think we've got time for one more here, and this one I think really touches on something that is another hot topic that I know a lot of marketers are dealing with, which is the topic of mobile. So mobile, now talking about video. Can you talk a little bit about how video is delivered on mobile and what effects that has on that?
No, absolutely. So I probably could have had another monster in here the size of Godzilla for mobile, because mobile it scares everybody. Well, and the problem too is that everybody's watching video on mobile, right? If you get a chance, you should Google multi-screen world study or multi-screen channel study. Basically, it's a report that Google put out last year that explored just exactly how we're using all of our devices every day to watch video and to watch content is phenomenal. It will really show you, yeah, we have to pay attention to mobile. So now, in terms of the presentation that I just gave, I have one word for mobile, and it's called platform. So most of the video platforms out there will automatically convert video to mobile devices when the video is requested. So for example, let's say even 5 years ago, what I would have to do is I would have to pick my formats, and I would have to convert my video into all those formats and bit rates and make them all available. So my video library, managing my video library was a colossal nightmare. Now with platforms, the way that a lot of these video platforms work is I put in one video, and then I check some boxes. I say I want iOS, I want HLS delivery, I want smooth streaming delivery, I want QuickTime delivery. So I check some boxes, and then when the user of those devices requests the video, it's converted on the fly. And not only is it converted on the fly, but it's usually stored then, so I don't have to convert it again. And of course I can, a lot of times through the platform, say, well, I only want to keep that video around for like, I don't know, 10 days, because I know when I looked at my reports, I only have like 10 people of my 10,000 viewers looking at it on Windows devices, so they're looking at it through smooth streaming. So I don't want to keep it that long because I don't want to pay for any extra storage. So these platforms are becoming very, very intelligent and savvy about how to deliver content to mobile devices. But again, it's no longer hard. As a matter of fact, it's like Mothra beating Godzilla, right? Mothra is the platform. So it's all done. You don't have to worry. If you go the platform route, you do not have to worry about mobile delivery ever again. It is the hugest weight will be off your shoulders.
Awesome. That sounds absolutely great. Thanks so much, Jason. I'm going to close by sharing a comment that I just looked over on Twitter, which has been really active, so thanks to everyone for that. But a great comment here from Nicole, who says, simply, video is less scary now.
Awesome.
So.
Yay. Now give me all your candy.
There you go. Well, Jason, thank you so much. This has been fun. It's been insightful. Really appreciate all the time and effort you put into bringing this to the audience today. I appreciate all that you did. So thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm going to leave up this slide here again, so everyone can make a note of the link there for the Video for Dummies book that you're offering there. As we close things out, just want to remind everyone we did record the webcast, so it's going to be coming your way here soon. So look for that follow-up coming your way. And as I mentioned, Twitter was really... Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, please.
One last thing from us. We are going to produce a walkthrough of this entire slide deck. We're going to publish it on our blog, and we will answer all of the questions in that blog post. I forgot to mention that. I always forget to mention that.
Excellent. That sounds wonderful. Thanks so much. Quickly, as I said, Twitter was really active, so I would encourage you, if you were not able to join us on there today, go check out the conversation that was going on there. Keep engaging there. Our hashtag for today, again, was #VideoMonster, so quick, easy one there to remember. So in closing, I'd like to extend a big thank you to Limelight Networks for sponsoring today's webcast, as well as to ReadyTalk for providing the platform that we used. And if you want to learn more about ReadyTalk and their services, you can go to readytalk.com/AMA. And of course, last, I'd like to thank you, the audience, for taking an hour from your busy day to spend with us. We hope you found this information helpful, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon on another AMA Thought Leader webcast. That does end our presentation for today. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great rest of your day.